Hello! The upcoming Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is supposed to be the last chapter of Drake's adventure. While you don't need to know the previous games by heart to enjoy the upcoming blockbuster, getting a hang of all the characters and the plot twist will certainly help. Here's everything you need to know about Uncharted. We first meet the adventurer Nathan Drake in Drake's Deception, where, along with a journalist, Elena Fisher, he's searching for the remains of his ancestor, explorer Sir Francis Drake. Turns out the explorer's coffin was a fake, as he was onto some big mystery and faked his own demise. Nathan acquires his ancestor's journal while the ship is attacked by pirates. Along with Elena, they make a swift escape with the help of Nathan's fellow adventurer/womanizer, Victor Sully Sullivan.
I can't leave you alone for a minute, can I?
Later on, in some exotic port, Nathan and his pal analyze the journal, only to discover that it's basically a map to the fabled City of Gold. Afraid that revealing the El Dorado to the world is a bad idea, the two ditch Elena and follow the map to a remote island. It turns out their destination is not the Golden City, but rather a somewhat special golden statue, which, turns out, is missing. On the island, the two find a crashed World War II German submarine, and Nathan goes in, only to discover yet another map, which this time leads to South America. Meanwhile, they're attacked by a leader of mercenaries, Gabriel Roman, and an archaeologist, Atok Navarro. Basically the bad versions of Nathan Sully. Roman wants Drake's map, but things happen, Sully gets shot, the submarine explodes, and Nate escapes to find Elena, who followed the adventurers to the island. The two quickly let bygones be bygones and join forces to travel to South America. Upon their arrival, because no means of transportation is safe in the Uncharted series, the two are shot down by an unknown group of baddies and crash land in the jungle. It is soon revealed that the mercenaries, bandits, pirates or whatever are led by Nate's rival, Eddie Raja, who captures Drake and tries blackmailing him into finding the treasure. Nate escapes with Elena's help, and the two soon discover that Sully is alive and well and hanging out with the enemies. Turns out, Sully survived the seemingly fatal wound, and he's a hostage of Gabriel, Eddie and Atok. In the dungeons below a monastery, Drake discovers the real tomb of Sir Francis Drake, but realizes that the treasure might not actually exist, and leaves the tomb disappointed. Nate and Elena meet Eddie, seemingly fleeing from something, only to be killed soon by a zombie-like monster. Nate and Elena escape to yet another abandoned submarine, and within learn that zombies are the effect of the curse of the statue, which exists, and Sir Francis actually was trying to hide it. Roman and Atok find the statue, which is something of a sarcophagus. Roman opens it, inhales fumes that come out, but is quickly killed before he mutates into one of the zombies. The last remaining baddie wants to weaponize the curse and transports the statue by helicopter. Nate hitchhikes a ride, the helicopter crashes on a freighter, because no vehicle is safe and Uncharted apparently. They fight, and Atok, along with the treasure, drowns. The game ends with a happy ending, with Nate, Sully and Elena sailing off into the sunset, and surprisingly, the boat doesn't explode. Don't worry though, the next Uncharted begins with a derailed train. When Nate escapes death one more time, he remembers being approached by a colleague, Flynn, and a lovely Chloe Fraser, who want to team up and steal an antique Mongolian oil lamp, which supposedly has clues on a mysterious voyage of Marco Polo, and, well, more treasure.
You in then?
What the hell? I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
The three break into a Turkish museum, Drake is betrayed by Flynn, because there were no vehicles to blow up nearby, and our hero goes to jail for a few months. Oh, and we learned that Marco Polo came by an artifact called the Chintamani Stone. Soon, Sully and Chloe, who isn't so bad after all, bail Nate out of jail, and the three head to Borneo, following Flynn's footsteps, who's working for an warlord with anger management issues, Lazarovich. It turns out that the treasure never made it to Borneo and is still in Nepal, which is our hero's next destination. There, Nate and Chloe meet Elena, who instantly falls in love with Chloe and is by no means jealous.
Oh, Elena Fisher, last year's model.
The three discover the location of the legendary Shambhala, where the stone is supposed to be. Nate and Elena are captured by Lazarovich, while Chloe switches sides to help our heroes from the inside, or so Nate thinks. Nate catches up with Lazarovich's train, which is heading deep into the Himalayas, when he is attacked by Flynn. Seeing no alternative, Drake causes an explosion, which brings us back to the opening scene of the game. Well, because it's so cool that we have to see it again, don't we? Upon stumbling out of the train, Nate loses consciousness and is rescued by a Tibetan villager. After awakening, Nate is reunited with Elena and meets Karl Schaefer, who claims to be a German explorer whose expedition got lost in the mountains decades ago. At this point, Nate is about to give up, because it doesn't look good, but the friendly German convinces him otherwise. Nate sets out to the caves where Schaefer's expedition was traveling, while being attacked by Yeti-like monsters. Rick soon discovers that Schaefer was actually a Nazi explorer who was sent to find the stone, but turned on his pals to prevent the artifact from being seized by the SS. Nate returns to the village, which is being attacked by Lazarevich, finds the dying Schaefer, who warns him about the stone, and along with Alina, travel to yet another monastery, where they fight the Yeti monsters, who, surprise surprise, are no monsters at all, but rather people, dressed as Yetis, infused with the powers of the sap of the Shintamani. Did I say sap? Yes indeed, as with yet another plot twist we learn that the stone is actually a steroid tree. Soon after, Flynn blows himself up, and Nate fights Lazarevich, who got even angrier after drinking the sap from the tree. Everything explodes, and the good guys eventually win. Nate ditches Chloe to beat Alina, and our heroes watch the sunset once again, luckily with no double crosses or vehicle explosions to spoil the good ending. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is set 2 years later and opens with Nate and Sully entering a bar. And no, there's no joke here. Nate wants to sell his precious ring to a shady man named Talbot, who's working for the malicious Marlowe. The deal goes south, the two are shot and left for dead, while the story goes to a flashback to a younger Drake, who tries to steal the aforementioned ring of Sir Francis from a museum. He succeeds and makes friends with Sully, who becomes his mentor. Flash forward to present time, and Nate and Sully are not so dead anymore, outside of the London pub. Turns out the deal was set to fail, and was actually intended to track Marlowe. With the help of Chloe, Nate and Sully track Marlowe to an abandoned library to find clues regarding Sir Francis' voyage to Arabia and the search for the lost city of Ubar. The clues to find the city, an amulet split in two, are supposed to be hidden in an abandoned French church and a Syrian citadel. Nate ventures to them accordingly. After completing the amulet, it turns out that the next clue is in Yemen, where Nate goes without a second thought. There, Nate and Sully meet up with Elena, who married Nate and later left him in the 2 years in between the games. Elena helps them to discover the tomb, which will lead them to the lost city, the Iram of the Pillars. Upon leaving the tomb, our heroes are ambushed, and Nate is shot with a hallucinogenic drug. When his trip is over, he is encountered by Marlowe, who wants to get the location of the city from him. Nate escapes, but is soon captured. So many captures, by Ramses, a self-proclaimed pirate. And since there haven't been any sunken ships for a game or two now, the ship that belongs to Ramses sinks, and Nate escapes to reunite with Elena and save Sully from Marlowe. Marlowe is already somewhere in the desert searching for the lost city, while supply drops are being delivered to her regularly. Nate plans to sneak onto her plane, but is discovered, and, well, surprise, things happen, and the plane crashes into the desert. Nate almost dies from fatigue and dehydration when he finds Marlowe's men, and a fight ensues. He's later rescued by a Bedouin party led by a man named Salim. Nate and Salim become buddies, and the local do-gooder tells Drake that the city has been doomed thousands of years prior when King Solomon tried to imprison an evil jinn. Salim helps Nate ambush Marlowe's convoy, which is transporting Sully. They succeed, but are separated by a sandstorm. When the weather clears, Nate and Sully finally discover Ubar. Upon entering, Nate is so excited that he takes a sip from the city's fountain. Suddenly, Talbot and Marlowe appear, and Sully is shot. Overcome with rage, our hero goes on a rampage, fighting Marlowe's men who, if you didn't suspect any supernatural elements by now, good for you, are possessed by the jinn. Nate later finds Sully, who is alive and well, as it was all just an illusion. Nate and Sully confront Marlowe and Talbot, and in consequence, surprise surprise, the city begins to collapse underground, and the duo is saved by Salim. Later on, at an airport in Yemen, Sully gives Nate back his wedding ring, which the old mentor kept after Nate and Elena had separated. Nate offers Elena the ring once again, promising no more adventures from now on and a fresh start. But we all know how that ended, don't we?
Sully, I know the risks, but come on, it's a surefire plan.
We already know that Nate's gonna break his promise and set out on a new adventure, this time with his brother. However, characters such as Elena or Sully are certain to make a comeback. Let's just hope that the lovely Jeep from the trailers doesn't explode minutes after we first see it.